If I would try to summarize Meludia in 3 words, I would say intuitive, but fun, and effective.
Hello, my name is Bastien Sanac. I am the CEO of the Meludia Method. The Meludia Method is a progressive music learning web application that allows you to master the fundamentals of music at your own pace, without pressure and in the comfort of your home or school. The premise of the Meludia Method is that music should be learned in exactly the same way as we learned our own language, through listening and imitating. The approach is based first on sensations and emotions before theory and analysis. Now, I am going to show you a few exercises from each module. Let's start at the very beginning, at the discovery level, with the very first exercise in melody. In this exercise, you must determine whether the notes are ascending or descending. This one is ascending, and I will click on the button Ascending. The faster you answer, the quicker the bar at the top will move and you will complete the exercise. This was an exercise that anybody could do. It gives you confidence and prepares you for the next exercises. Now we move on to the intermediate module, and of course we are skipping over many exercises in between. This exercise will allow you to distinguish between different notes at different pitches, and in so doing will develop your ability of sound perception. First, you will hear 2 notes played at the same time, and then again. But this time, one of those 2 notes has moved. Which one was it? The lower note or the higher note? And where did it move to? A whole step? A half step? Up or down? Now let's try it. Which note moved? It was the higher one, and it moved a half step down. So I am going to click here. It was the higher one, and it moved a half step up. So I am going to click here. Now, let's move on to the expert module for a quick overview. Here you will find some very difficult exercises about melody, chord progressions, rhythm,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and so on. Once again, remember that by using the Meludia method for just 15 minutes per day, 4 days a week, you will improve the way that you process music in your mind. This leads to your acquiring the so-called inner keyboard, which will allow you to internally hear the exact music that you are going to play and create beforehand. This is what being a musician is all about. Welcome to the Meludia Method.
For the teachers to have the tools with which to teach music in a way that's effective for everyone and that it really is inclusive and is fun. I've heard hundreds of stories as to how difficult that can be. So for them to be given on a silver platter a tool that is so all-encompassing and that is so functional and that's fun and interactive, and of course uses the skills that are second nature to a young generation now, which is through a screen and through a computer. I think that is, it's just an absolute gift. I could see every teacher being endlessly grateful for this tool. Second to that is, of course, the actual experience that a young person will have with Meludia, and it's definitely something that is always challenging. It's colourful, it's beautiful to see, very interactive. It plays into all the things that I think the young generation are looking for now. So I think it's a good mix also of encouraging and gratifying and challenging.
If I were to define Meludia with, let's say, 3-4 words, for me it definitely would be purifying, tasteful, and a non-intimidating challenge. Now, when people ask me, so you're spending your whole life with music, so why adding something on top of it? Simply because it's fun to play Meludia. I'm having trouble calling it a game, but it's done in a way corresponding to the needs of the 21st century, with which you can access all these challenges, games very easily on the internet.
From Meludia is a graduated program of learning how to listen and recognizing that everybody has that potential to hear music on a number of levels, melodically, formally, contour-wise, rhythmically, and I love that idea that everyone can do that. And it's not just for the chosen few. It's we come with that as human beings. So I'm really excited about the Meludia program that way, and the fact that it's graduated, that you can really at your own pace and in a very fun way, kind of get your listening skills going.
I think Meludia is a fantastic program for bettering your ear training. I love that it's engaging and makes you think in a different way than maybe your regular musical studies would have you thinking. And plus it's just fun and kind of addictive, and that you get pleasure out of reaching your goals and the little congratulations that comes up when you beat each level. It's pretty fun.
Well, one of the great advantages is that you learn it by yourself, you work on it by yourself, and so you can take as much time as you want, and you don't feel under pressure. And I think some musicians especially are a little embarrassed of the lack of their ability to hear certain things, and I include myself in that. And so not having studied the theory of music for a big part of my life. I studied it when I was very young, and then I stopped very soon, and until I discovered Meludia, I didn't study it at all for half of my life almost. And I often meant to in that time, but I was sort of almost afraid to go back to where I had left off. And being able to study it on your own, at your own pace, and without somebody either pushing you or without having colleagues that you compare yourself with, is one of the great advantages. And then being able to do it whenever you have the time, of course, not having to schedule time for it, but just whenever there's even 15 minutes or whether it's an hour, you just go and you do a little bit.